Hello and welcome to another Illegal Pancakes podcast, the only podcast where we review stuff that we watch. Yes, we are the only ones that do that. We started it. So today, we're going to be talking about something that we were going to talk about a few weeks ago, maybe it was a few months ago, I don't remember. But we're going to be looking at the Uzumaki movie. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Uzumaki movie was a movie adaptation based on the manga series by the same name. It's a J-horror movie, and it was actually written, or at least the script was written, I believe, before the comics were finished. So, it's kind of fallen into the category of bad Junji Ito movies.
Yeah.
Which there are a lot of. But the thing is with this one is that it's, objectively, you'll look at it and it is a bad movie. The acting is bad. The pacing is bad. But this one actually does some unique stuff that kind of ended up digging the movie, which it's kind of weird to say, but there's a couple things in this movie that are really cool, and if you can get past all of the cheesiness and the bad acting, it's still enjoyable.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I should also point out that you need to read the comic to understand this movie. This is not a movie that I think would be very friendly to viewers who have not read the comic. And with that, we are having no restraint on spoilers. We're going to spoil this movie. We're going to spoil the comic. We're going to spoil the upcoming anime, probably. We don't know. It's not out yet. But we're going to talk about where this movie is good, where this movie is bad, and whether or not you should watch it.
Yep. Kind of in the spirit of our Castlevania Season 3 review, except there will be no What the F section this time, because that is the point of this movie, or the point of Uzumaki.
Yeah.
Right.
So, the first thing you'll notice about this movie is the color green, because everything is just green. Like, they have a filter over everything, which when I first heard about this, I was like, oh crap, it's another movie that's trying to rip off The Matrix. But, like I said, it actually works really well, I think, in this movie. At the beginning of the movie, before the spiral has really, caused too much havoc on the city, it's not very green, it's just kind of, slightly tinted. But as, more, effed up stuff happens in the movie, the screen will get greener and greener to the point where it's almost like you're watching the movie through, night vision goggles. And I just thought it looked really... It was different. I think that's what really stuck me out, is I've never seen a movie that was like that, where it was only had one color. And it also helps because when blood or something would show up on screen, it would just be bright red and totally contrast with everything else. So the visuals in this movie really, it works. I think it helps build the suspense and stuff.
I actually didn't notice that, really, all the green, but...
Really?
Yeah, thinking about it now, yeah. 'Cause, I watched it on my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
So
I watched it on my iPhone at work. Don't tell my boss.
Yeah, I watched it on, a train ride, and, yeah, I didn't notice it as much.
Did you watch the copy on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so we both watched the same copy. The version we watched, the quality of it wasn't very good.
Oh, no.
Because watching it, I was like, holy crap, these special effects are amazing. Then I was like, are these special effects actually good, or am I just watching this on, a crappy resolution on an iPhone? And, I'd read online that the special effects were one of the things that were, well regarded with this movie. And it at least in the version I saw, they looked fine. The face in the sky that from all of the ashes and stuff looked good. The smoke didn't look like it was rendered from a PS1 game. The dude that sticks himself in the washing machine looked great. The snails looked fine. But, yeah. Is there anything else that you liked about the movie, Connor?
So getting into, I guess, not really spoiler territory, but so how this film handles the individual chapters of the manga is it interweaves a lot of them. Now, it doesn't necessarily complete most of the arcs of each chapter, but it like does a good job of like throwing a bunch of them together in a very, I don't know if concise is the right word, but like
It
they don't like
mixes a lot of the stories together, and it doesn't, like we said, it doesn't finish all of the stories. Like, the main example I would give is the Jack in the Box, which the Jack in the Box story is about this kid that keeps like flirting and scaring the main character Kyrie, and then he gets run over by a car, and the shock absorber on the front of the car is like stuck inside his mangled corpse, and they can't get it out. And then eventually he comes back as like a zombie with like a spring for legs. Well, in the movie, he shows up in like the first like 5 minutes and is doing everything, scaring Kyrie and stuff. And then he gets run over by the car, but they don't ever finish the story. It just ends with him getting run over. Which, yeah, watching a little Japanese kid get run over by a car is pretty horrific. But it doesn't have anything to do with spirals, which is the whole point of the movie. That's why it's called Spirals.
Yeah. Yep, they do that one. They do the Medusa one with the curly hair.
Yeah, they're like building up to it, and at the very end, it's just like 2 scenes of her walking around like that.
Yeah. Then they do the snail one, which kind of just happens in the beginning and then comes back later. And
yeah, but to be fair, another thing, like the kid they got to play as the slow kid, he looked like straight out of the comic. Like when he comes into the class and he's like all covered in like the weird like grease and stuff, and he's like, "Oh hey teacher," like the casting right there was perfect. Like that scene is like literally the comic coming to life. Like what I saw in my head while reading the comic is that scene. And then that kid just like goes and beats him up.
Yeah.
I did kind of like that scene. There's like a big fight that just breaks out in the class, and Kyrie is just staring out the window, just totally like, what's it called?
Zoning out.
Yeah, zoning out. Like it doesn't even phase her just because like how much like effed up stuff has been happening.
Yeah.
The other thing is they actually kind of make a few new spiral stories, which I think I liked. There's one that's just tagged in there really at the end where it's a police officer staring down the barrel of a gun, talking about how there's a spiral in there. That's not from the comic. And then I don't think the part with Suichi's dad eating the little spiral cakes, was that in the comic?
Yeah, that was.
That was?
Like,
okay,
specifically him flipping the hell out because they ran out of them. And then,
yeah,
like,
I didn't remember that, but I was like, that scene's well done too, where he's like eating them, and he's like eating them in like the most like gross way. That was like, that one felt like the most like accurate to the comic, just because it makes you feel like weird and uncomfortable. Like it's not something that you should be like concerned with because it's just a guy eating fish, but like it just, the way they did it was just like, oh, this is gross.
Yeah. On that same note, like how he like kills himself, instead of it being like a wash basin like it is in the manga, he does it in a washing machine. He like videotapes it too.
Yeah,
that's like his thing in the film. Like he's videotaping all the spirals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like he somehow, well, he doesn't really like get a like he doesn't videotape himself fully, like getting all spiraled up. But
yeah, he films himself getting in the washing machine and like turning it on, and like he has a mirror with him as well.
Yeah.
And then the scene where they watch it is pretty intense and stuff. If you do plan on watching this movie, it starts out pretty slow and cheesy, but about halfway through, like specifically when like the detective shows up, I think that's when things really start to pick up and get intense and interesting. Oh, the kid who fell down the staircase, that wasn't in the comic, was it?
Right.
Yeah, the kid falls down a staircase and his brains come out.
Yeah, I mean, originally I thought that was supposed to be the Jack in the Box kid.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But it's like holy crap, he's offing himself already in the most unfaithful to the comics way. But like, nope. It was some random guy.
And another thing that's interesting in the movie is the reason for the spiral curse is different.
Yeah.
In this one, it's because of some kind of ancient cult. When in the comic, it was just this well, you don't even really know what it is in the comic. If you've read the comic, you've seen what it is, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's very Lovecraftian in that way, but this one is
Mm-hmm.
more tangible. It's a lot like Silent Hill, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
because a big thing about Silent Hill is there's this cult in the background, but you don't always, like, you interact with a couple members, like, in each game, usually, but, like, it's more of a background force that you can't really, like, see. You know it's there, but, like, I
Yeah.
mean, which I guess you could say is the same thing in the manga with,
The weird Cthulhu spiral thing.
yeah, but then again, that only appears in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with this, you're told, like, right in the middle. But yeah, that was, so yeah, going back to the detective guy Robbie mentioned, he was a new original character named Tamura, who is a reporter who I guess who's like intrigued by Shuichi's father's suicide and like tries to like investigate what the hell's happening. And well, he dies. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
didn't really do too much with him. He's the one that ran the Jack in the Box kid over. And you kind of see it coming, and it's really hilarious. I guess this is a good thing too. Like I would mark as good. Like he's driving like 10 miles per hour down this little like street, and you know it's coming. Like the kid's gonna dart out in front of him, and like he completely mangles him going into a telephone pole. His head goes through the the windshield, and like his eyeball somehow punches through it.
Yeah, that was the part that I really did. How his eyeballs like in the shattered windshield, and there's like a spiral coming out of
Yeah.
where his eye was at. I was like, oh, that's cool. I dig that.
But yeah, like the way that they like edited that scene is just like so freaking comedic.
Yeah.
Like definitely compared to the manga, like what happened in that scene.
Mm-hmm. So I ended up enjoying this movie a lot more than I expected to. And I had really low expectations for it, but I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was cool and fun, but that doesn't change the fact that it is a bad movie. And do you want to start talking about the bad parts of the film, or is there any of the other good parts you want to mention?
Now let's go on to the bed.
All right, yeah. So this movie is bad. Okay, the acting is really bad, especially specifically with the main lead character who plays as Kyrie. Yeah, like it's bad when you watch a dubbed version of something and you say, well, not a dubbed version. You watch a movie in a foreign language and you say, "Wow, she's a bad actor." But yeah, she is a bad actor. I don't have to be able to speak the language to know that that's not how humans act. You know.
Yeah.
So she doesn't ruin the movie, but like the scene that sticks out the most for me is when Suichi is telling her about how her dad is kind of going insane. And in the comic, it's when he's talking about how his dad is always taking photos of spirals and stuff. And she kind of starts giggling about it because she thinks it's kind of funny. And Suichi gets mad at her. Well, in the movie, she just like Suichi like tells her there's like an awkward pause, and then she just like burst out into like this fake laughter. And it just, it was pretty cringy. At that point, I was like, I don't know if I'm able to make it through this movie.
Yeah.
But it gets better.
Yeah. To be honest, I think that was her first film role, but I don't know.
It was
like,
one of her earlier ones.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think she's been in
as
some
much.
porn movies as well. I think it says that on her IMDb page.
Some what?
Porn?
Ah.
Adult? Yeah.
Okay. I just looked at Wikipedia, but then again, that half of them didn't have pages. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's not much about this movie on IMDb. I think it did get a theatrical release in Japan, but it's still not like a huge movie.
Yeah, here I think it just got shown at like a film festival in San Francisco, and then maybe another in Canada, some other film festival. But yeah,
I assume you can buy it on DVD here in the States, but I don't know.
Would you want to?
Probably not. Yeah, especially because it's all on YouTube right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue with the bad. So one thing that really like was off-putting for me was some of the cinematography. It's like a lot of the scenes were like shot really close up to the person's face. Like I
That's
know it was
true.
probably meant to be like off-putting and like jarring, but
Well, you can tell it's like a rookie trying to be off-putting and jarring.
yeah,
Like
especially
when
with
Jack in the Box shows up and
yeah.
his first scene where it starts like each like time it shows him like the scene is like flipped and it's like I get what you're trying to do, how it's like it's spiraling, but it doesn't work. It's just weird and it seems campy.
Yeah, that was the specific thing I was going
Oh,
to mention.
really? Okay, yeah, I felt a little bad for cutting you off.
No, that was where I was going.
Also, some of the people in this just start acting like, I don't know, like Disney Channel pop stars. Like, I don't like the scene I'm mostly talking about is when they're in the bathroom and the girl that wants to be pretty comes out with like all of her girlfriends. And they have like this choreographed like walking out, and I was like, oh, this movie's for kids now. Oh no.
Yeah, they were like smoking in the bathroom or something.
Yeah,
that was really weird.
It was like a music video.
Yeah, I didn't recognize who that was supposed to be at first because she had glasses, but that was the Medusa girl.
Mm-hmm.
One that goes crazy.
I caught that because she was like, oh, I want to
be popular.
I want to be popular.
I want to get noticed.
You literally have two people that follow you around and do choreographed getting out of the bathroom with you. Like, how much more popular can you get than that?
Yeah. No, it's like even weird was because she was talking about the one guy who committed suicide down the spiral staircase. She's like, I just want to be how it must feel to be noticed or whatever. It's like, holy shit. Too soon.
Yeah, holy cow. Does someone who worked on this movie need to talk to a doctor? Are they okay?
Okay. So, another thing that is bad about this movie that we kind of hinted at earlier was that it introduces a lot of the arcs from the comic, but it doesn't really complete them. Like, it doesn't really go anywhere with them. It's like, I guess the best example of that is the Medusa one. It just kind of shows it. It's like...
Yeah, so she shows up, like, in, like, the first or second act of the movie, and, like, it starts setting up for the Medusa thing. Yeah. But then it just tags it in at the end during, like, a montage.
Yeah, it's like showing, like, hey, look at this, what we're showing from the manga, but we're not going to do too much with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
unlike to be fair, they had most of my favorite stories in there. They didn't have the spiral face girl story. I think the guy who looks into the gun shoots himself in the face, and the hole where his head is in that shape. Yeah. But they didn't do that story. They sort of do the hurricane story, which is one of my favorites, where the hurricane is chasing them. The movie ends and they say there's a hurricane that's coming to hit the island or valley they're at, but the movie ends before it gets there, which again is pretty lame.
Yeah.
But like I said, like I think this movie was made with the intent of people reading the comic afterwards. And I've never really liked that form of filmmaking, but I understand why it exists, you know?
Yeah. But at the same time, the manga was not, like, finished.
Yeah.
So they were kind of doing their own thing, like, sort of similar to what happened with Akira, I think, or... Actually, I don't remember what happened with that.
I think Akira was finished, but I don't... I'm sure there's a couple other...
Because I think with that, they kind of rushed to the ending because the author had a idea of how he wanted to end it. But, so they did that, and they, like, it kind of moves much faster in the anime. But the comic, the manga, it, like, fleshes out a lot more, like, details or whatever. But yeah, but, like, this is, like, the manga wasn't finished, so they just came up with their own. Which, at the same time, I'm kind of questioning that because this came out in, like, February of 2000, and then the manga had finished, in like September of 99.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Wikipedia, it only took about 2 weeks to film. Which,
Interesting.
yeah, I don't know how much post-production they needed, which, I mean, guessing by like how everything was, it was a little low budget.
Yeah, and they
like,
probably didn't. It wasn't digital back then, so like they were messing with like physical film and stuff.
yeah. So I don't know how long it took, but at the very least, there's a lot. It seems like the focus was more on the first 2 volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, September of 99 was when the third came out. And, like, the only thing they took from that was the reporter lady from, like, that
Yeah,
newsreel that they show and, like,
the
what
tunnel that
was
you
it?
can't escape out of.
Yeah. Like, the third or so chapter of the film, which,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, the film is broken up into, like, 4 parts, which the
Yeah,
fourth one's kind of like, I don't know, a
barely
throwaway,
apart.
but
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, and even then, they don't really cover too many of the individual stories from the first 2 volumes.
yeah. I would be very interested if anybody can find one. Let me know if like what someone thought of this movie. That if you just went and watched this movie without knowing anything about the comic at all, what you would think of it, and if you would even catch what's going on. Like. But it does the first 2 stories, the Spiral Obsession, which is one of my personal favorites of the manga. It does that one pretty well. All the rest it does job.
Yeah,
But it's fine.
yeah. Kind of wish they would have tried to do the mosquitoes one.
Yes. Yeah, well, I feel like if I was in charge and I was told to make Uzumaki into a movie, I would probably have to break it up into 3 movies. And
Yeah,
I would do the first one that would be kind of like this. I would focus mostly on the first 2, but also throw in some of the other stuff. And then I would do the second movie of just the hospital, because so much weird stuff happens in that hospital. And then the third one would be kind of the finale of the story, where it's all of the old houses and where it's pretty much like the end of the world at that point.
yeah. Because originally, I think they were going to try to do like an anthology with the film,
Mm-hmm.
which would be more broken up, but instead they decided to do a full feature film
Yeah.
or whatnot. It's like,
Which is probably the wrong way to do it, but
yeah, yeah. Like, and also I'm thinking specifically with reference to the mosquitoes story that it seems like they were going for more of like a PG-13, like broader release type deal.
maybe there's a fair amount of blood in this movie.
Yeah, but like nothing like too extreme.
I don't know, like kid's brains come out after he falls out of the school. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, there's not a lot. Like, there's not a lot of violence and stuff in it, but like some of there's yeah, it's a decent amount of blood. Like, it's not a PG level. I mean, it could get away with PG-13. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like the weird thing for me was like it didn't show the dad in the washing machine, like all spiraled up. Like they don't show that at all, which was
Yeah,
weird.
they do. You
They
you,
did?
you see it.
I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't? That's one of the best scenes in the movie. Yeah, they look in, you can see he's like all spiraled up, and then like his like tongue comes out and his eyes open up and they're like all red. It's like a jump scare scene.
Crap, I don't remember that at all.
Connor, did you not watch the movie?
I did watch the movie.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
made
yeah,
that
look that up.
clear.
Yeah, no, it shows it, and it. Like I said, I was watching on a low quality copy. I don't know if it looks good or not, but it seemed good,
Hmm.
and it kind of builds up to it because at first, like you just see her walk up to it and it's off camera and she screams, but then like later in a flashback, it reveals what she saw and it's him inside there all spiraled up.
Okay, because yeah, I remember the initial scene pretty clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess I kind of missed the flashback.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I forget if it's a flashback or if it's her watching the footage or something. I can't quite remember, but it
Yeah.
flashes back later, and it shows it.
Yeah, I don't think they show it in the footage.
Yeah.
Which I found weird, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
But yeah, it's if you've read the comic, it's fine. If not, it's probably complete garbage and you should avoid it.
Yeah. I mean, if you've read the comic, at the very least you can laugh at it.
Yeah, if you're interested and you're a fan of the comic, or if you're even just a fan of Junji Ito's work in general, like, go ahead and watch it. Like, it's not going to insult you too much.
No.
You might find that you end up enjoying it like me. That being said, go in with low expectations.
Yeah, because it is not a very good adaptation per se.
Yeah, it's not a good adaptation, and it's not a movie for everyone either. And that's why I give this movie a 2 out of 5. It's bad, but I can still find enjoyment in it.
Yeah, I would have said like maybe 2.5 out of 5, but I don't know. Because like there's that.
Honestly,
like...
I feel like giving it a 2 out of 5 is being generous, but.
Yeah. All right.
So, do we want to read some comments now, or do we want to just end the video?
Now let's read some comments because we haven't done that in a long time.
All right.
So I got them pulled up. If you want me to read them off.
Yeah, go ahead, read them off.
Okay, so our number one fan, Greg, has some stuff for us. I'll go with his original one that he put. He said, I'm ashamed I know this, but Twilight is in Washington. 0 out of 10 for making me even remember that I know that. So this is from our Castlevania Grimoire of Souls Gets Freaking Owned video, where Robbie thought that Twilight took place
I totally
in Canada.
Okay, I know nothing about Twilight, but I was under the impression that, well, first off, Washington and Canada, pretty much the same place. I would know, I've lived in both. But I feel like in the Twilight mythos, I could be totally wrong here. Don't the vampires migrate from Canada? Do the werewolves migrate from Canada? I feel like I'm probably totally wrong.
I have no
Are they filmed in Canada? I bet the movies are filmed in Canada.
Yeah, they're probably filmed in Canada. That wouldn't be too far-fetched. A lot of things get filmed in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So then he also continues by saying chariots.
Yep.
Yeah.
That means you watched the whole video. Write chariots if you're at this point as well.
Then he said, yo, y'all should watch Twilight and report back. LOL, I'm kidding. Please don't do that. Good advice, Greg.
Yeah, it would be pretty... I think if we made a video of us reviewing Twilight, it would probably be pretty funny. But, yeah, I don't have the time for that or the desire.
So, yeah, but, like, to kind of counter that, I said, maybe we'll review Vampire Sucks someday.
Yeah, I could probably get through that.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I watched that movie.
Yeah, it might not be much better than Twilight, but...
Yeah. And, like I said, maybe... Which we got a lot of stuff we want to do, but maybe we'll decide to do something funny for Halloween. We've always talked about doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I don't know. We'll see. And then, let's see. He also said, actual idea for next podcast. Play the BTSX expansion for the Bethesda Doom port and review it. Which, I didn't know what that was till Rob explained it to me, but...
Yeah, so what it is...
I know what the Bethesda Doom port is, but like the...
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, the Bethesda Doom port, it's a new port of the game. It's supposed to be really great. It has a bunch of expansions to make the game even longer and more fun. I think they just recently added a very popular mod called Back to Saturn X, which I think is supposed to be a big deal because it's like the least vanilla out of all of the Doom expansions they've added. I could be wrong here. And... So what I say about reviewing it, that sounds awesome. I would totally love to. But I can't promise I have enough time to play all of Back to Saturn X, because I still don't think I've played all of Plutonia. Well, I know I haven't played all of Plutonia all the way through, and I don't think I've played all of Sigil. I've played most of it. But I don't have the Bethesda Doom port. I guess that's another problem. So, if we do that, it's not going to be anytime soon. But that sounds like a lot of fun. I would rather do that than watch Twilight, probably.
Yeah. It's like me personally, like I have some stuff I'm trying to get through as well. Like
I still have to get through Doom 64. I haven't finished that one yet.
Yeah, like nothing Doom related, because I mean I would like just to get a review in, I would like kind of push those out of the way. But like no, I'm trying to beat the original Resident Evil 2. It's weird saying that, but yeah, or the original Resident Evil 2, which is a game you unfortunately have to beat 4 times to get the most out of, kinda. It's really beating it twice, but you gotta play like 4 different scenarios.
As you can probably hear, you can hear some exotic nature sounds from Connor's urban Chicago apartment.
Yes. It is the rare and, well, fairly loud sound of the man with the small penis.
Yep. It's about mating time for him. Well, actually, June was. Got him. Again, thank you so much for listening if you've made it this far. We will definitely be reviewing the Uzumaki manga in its entirety, and hopefully we'll be reviewing the Uzumaki anime when it comes out.
Yep. Which, speaking of which, there have not been any updates since our last video, but
there should be some coming very soon.
Hopefully.
There might be some by the time this is uploaded.
Yep. By Comic-Con, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Comic-Con Online. Are we going to have to do 2 podcasts where we talk about everything that happened at Comic-Con like we did last year?
I really don't want to, because
no
one watched that video. No one watched that video. Like, it still only has like
long.
4.
It was like, we had to break it up into 2.
Yeah. No, it was Comic-Con, then QuakeCon.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I doubt that's happening.
Yeah, too. No, QuakeCon's been officially canceled. It's the first time it's been canceled since the original. So.
Dang. That's messed up.
But if you've been following the September 5th, 2020 subreddit, you'll know that the old ones are coming back and are going to destroy the world on September 5th. So, if you want to survive, you better start playing that Quake, because that's how I learned how to kill the old ones. All right. On that note, we're going to end the video.
Yes, because this is like 12 minutes longer than we wanted it to be.
Yep. All right. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.